How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we got some Pokemon rumors, leaks, everything in between to talk about, so let's get started right off the bat. First thing is this post from RuffledRowlit. If you guys do not know RuffledRowlit, he's a legitimate leaker and he tweeted out this Japanese tweet saying Tera Peace Stella, if you translate it using just Google, because I do not know Japanese, so I can't give you an exact translation here, but it says Tera Peace Stella. Now, if you guys do not know what Stella is, it's going to be basically kind of the name for the 19th Tera type, I guess is the way to put it, like the 19th typing in the game. Like, not literal typing, we're not going to get a typing like, you know, like fire, grass, water, etc. That's going to be called stellar or star typing or anything. I think this is just going to be a temporary thing within the Indigo Disc DLC, and he basically just gave us here again saying Tera Peace Stella, which again implying that the name of this new typing is going to be either Star, Stellar, Stella, something like that. And then underneath that, he tweeted another thing. If I think we go down here, he said Synchro Machine, which is a bit of a weird one. Synchro Machine, could mean anything. So down here, you guys can see what Jan has to say. Jan says, okay, that first thing means Tera Piece, aka the shards, the different shards you use to put together, like, how would you put it, like, basically to change the typing of your Tera type, right? So you need the Tera pieces. Then he says for the second part, it's the 19th type's name, since you need the Tera shards to change Tera types. So maybe, is he implying here that we're gonna have to get our hands on specific Tera pieces, like specific, like, Stella ones, like the stellar ones, the star pieces, are we going to need those specific items? Like, do we need specifically those to be able to get this brand new, you know, Tera typing on our Pokemon? I'm guessing that's what's being implied here. Again, I'm not really sure. I'm just going off of, like, just bare minimum knowledge here. But I think that is what we're getting as an, you know, as an implication of what he's saying right here. So, again, we're going to have to wait and see if anything develops from this, but for now, that's pretty much what we know. And we also do have Amashinu here, who just does some theorizing on Pokemon and stuff, and he's basically said Tera Shard Stella plus Synchro Machine, because yes, the second message was Synchro Machine, which is a little bit random, but he says that the Synchro Machine is a mini time machine in the BB Academy, powered by Tera Shards. Each past gen's legendary requires a specific combination of shards. Example, 50 Dragon plus 50 Psychic summons Latias and Latios, depending on the version. This is not true, but if it is true, that is actually pretty sick. The idea of, like, us having to find these shards would be really cool. But you can see that we actually had Jan responding saying that in Japanese alphabetical order is between two items. So Ground Tera and Electric Tera. I think it's obvious what Stellar Tera Shard means by now. And he said, and Amashino responds saying, oh, the 19th Tera type, Stellar also makes sense, more sense than Stella, which yes, Stellar makes way more sense. It's like the perfect name, and it fits way more. So that's just one of the things we have to keep in mind. But again, I don't know about this theory though, about the Synchro Machine, because that's the only part that doesn't make any sense here. The first part, which is all about like the Stellar, you know, the brand new typing. Let's just call it the star typing, right? So the star typing, Stella typing, whatever you want to call it, that's the first part of this post. But the second part is about a Synchro Machine. Again, what's the Synchro Machine got to do with anything? Like, in general, what does it have to do with anything within Pokemon, you know, Scarlet and Violet? So if we look up Synchro Machine, just in general, we don't really get a lot of results. But if you search up a Pokemon Synchro Machine, again, nothing. There's just the ability to synchronize, and that's about the extent of it. There isn't really much there to learn about that. So the Synchro Machine thing he said is that supposed to synchronize two different Tera types? Like, for example, like, you know, Jan said down here, if you have a Ground Tera Shard and Electric Tera Shard, you're supposed to combine them, and that creates the Stellar Shard, like the combination of two other ones. I don't know. It's a little bit weird. I'm not really sure how to take this, but again, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be reached out to by Jan, and Jan's going to probably explain some stuff to me that I'm missing here, but nonetheless, let's move on to a quick other thing, and this is about specifically how are we going to get these legendaries, because we know that in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Indigo Disc, we're going to be getting our hands on exactly these legendaries on screen right here. If you haven't seen this already, I talked about it in my last video, and you probably watched other people on YouTube talk about it, and if you've been on Twitter, you've seen it too. But there's a big thing that everybody's questioning. How do we get these Pokemon? Like, what's the method of getting them? Are we going to find them in random caves? Are we going to find them in raids? Like, what's the method of actually finding them? Well, it seems like one of the biggest things that's being hinted at is possibly us getting them through the use of the vending machines. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say vending machines, we have to go to Cerebi real quick to find a reference to this, because in the most recent previews to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet that were given to a bunch of content creators, we have to actually find the post because it's been a while now since it was posted. But if we go over to Cerebi here, there was recently an actual preview that was given to a bunch of content creators, like a bunch of big people in the community got to take a look at the games early on and just give their thoughts and opinions on it and just check out the first like hour of gameplay or so. And one of the things that they noticed in that, if we can actually find the preview here, if we're just gonna search in preview, and let's see, Indigo disc preview, here we go. Let's just find the exact moment they mentioned it, because yeah, it's been a while now since that was posted. But yeah, here we go. So this is the preview area, right? So the thing about the preview, we actually go to the page for it. So the thing about the preview here is that they actually have this moment, if we look at the pre-release screenshots, where you can see these vending machines, right? You guys can see them over there. So in the top left, you guys can see there's a bunch of vending machines. The thing about these vending machines is these are specifically for items, because there is not going to be any shopkeepers. There's not going to be anything like that you're going to find, because we're at school at the end of the day, and this is just a terrarium which you just can run around and explore. But the thing is, there might be a vending machine for us to get legendaries, and it might be using, like he says right here, which I think is a really cool concept. Like he said, the Synchro Machine is a mini time machine in the BB Academy, powered by Tera shards. Each past gen's legendary requires a specific combination of shards, which actually is a pretty fucking cool idea. Sorry for swearing, I don't usually do that in these videos, but honestly, I just think that sounds like a cool idea. A bit cheap on the cheaper end, though. I'm not gonna lie. A bit on the cheaper end. I would have preferred if every single legendary had like a unique little mini quest you could do to get them, because that would make it more fun. Kind of similar to how you find like Rayquaza, Groudon, and Kyogre back in Heart Gold Soul Silver. If you guys don't remember that, how you got those back in Heart Gold Soul Silver was by completing both Kanto and Johto. You could go to Professor Oak, I think, and he would hand you, or Mr. Pokemon or whatever, but they would hand you one of the shards for each Pokemon, depending on which game you played. And if you transferred one of the Pokemon, so if you got Groudon over to Pokemon like Heart Gold, and you also had Kyogre on there, or you vice versa, right? Like Kyogre over to Soul Silver or whatever. If you did that, you took both those Pokemon with you in your party over to the same location you caught them, you could actually run into Rayquaza, which is pretty cool, and you had to get it first an item and stuff, but that's like a mini quest. It's not like massive, it's very small, very minuscule size-wise, but I think it's a cool idea nonetheless. I think it's really sick of a concept, and I would have preferred if it's something like that. Of course, this is still nice, because at least we can get, you know, legendaries, which is pretty much confirmed, but at the end of the day, I think that would have been cooler. So that's just my thoughts, but let's move on to, again, the other post again. So there's no need to question this, because this list was extracted from Scarlet and Violet 2.0.1. The only thing you need to pay attention to is static encounters, as what was data mined was just 25 new items named after these 25 legendaries. However, the items don't confirm whether they are associated with static encounters or not. To find out how to obtain these items and trigger the legendary encounters, refer to our previous posts where we teased this method, picture via Makio J. Roses. So basically here, you can see Jan says it too. Oh, the vending machine makes sense now. You buy items that can spawn legendary Pokemon from the vending machine. Something like Rainbow Wing, Silver Wing, Clear Ball, etc. So yes, you wouldn't be buying the actual, like the literal legendary wouldn't pop out of the vending machine, right? It'd be an item to summon it in some way or shape, which is cool. I just hope that they make the summoning part interesting and kind of like spread it out all around the region, if that makes any sense. Like, oh, they basically spread it out all around. I say region, but I meant more like, you know, spread it all around the Indigo disc. If anything, I think it would be even cooler if they actually gave an update to the, you know, Area 0, or maybe even if they did an update to all of Paldea, where there would be these random little locations that would show up now, but if you interact with them, nothing happens, except if you bring one of the items that correlates to one of the legendaries. So for example, they could have it all around Paldea, all around Kitakami, just kind of like little nodes, like tiny little nodes, that if you go to them without any items, it doesn't make a difference. But if you go there, for example, with, let's say, a Rainbow Wing, right? For Ho-Oh, you find a specific location, a mountain somewhere up in Paldea, right? You go up on it and you interact with it, and then it just summons out. The same way, kind of, I'm thinking of it in the same kind of method as they did the, like the Ruinous Four, if you guys know what I'm talking about, like Qian Pao and those guys, like the four legendaries from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'm thinking about them doing something like that, like a style like that, because that to me would be really sick. Again, anything is possible, but I think that would be a cool way to do it. what do you guys think? I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on this, in particular in the comments, because this is an interesting point as to what they can do with these concepts and designs, because they can go really, really, really in many different ways. But again, cool thoughts. Let's see what this actually turns into. So yeah, legendary chromatic time, I guess. But yeah, as you guys remember this item from these, I think first DLC of Pokemon Sword and Shield. So yeah. Let's continue. Moving on, we're going to move on to this post right here. Now, this is a weird post. This is again from Ku, and he said, Electric, Fire, Water, Steel, Rock, Psychic. Why must they destroy the pattern? Question mark. And then it's a shiny Hisuian Voltorb, or Electrode. I forget their order of names. But yeah, we've got a shiny one right here, which is blue. And if you scroll down, people are just saying some stuff, you know, trying to guess what it's all about. But I think one post that made it most clear was probably this one by Dark Meteor, who says it's Paradox signature move types. So for example, if you look here, Electric, Fire, Water. So you got Raging Bolt, Thunderclap, Electric, Paradox Entei, signature move, Fire, Walking Wake, Hydro Steam, so Electric, Fire, Water, right? Because yeah, Walking Wake we already know, and Raging Bolt we already know. So the last one is the Fire type one in the middle, right? Next up, Iron Crown, Tachyon Cutter, Steel type, Iron Leaves, Psyblade, Psychic, right? Like he said, Steel, Psychic. And then the middle one would be a signature move, which would be Rock. So Paradox Terrakion signature move would be a Rock type. So perfect description here from Dark Meteor. This is literally the perfect way to break this down. This is pretty much what he's talking about. I did also see Soul saying that Gouging Horn is going to be Dark Dragon type, isn't it? This is purely a guess, but remember you heard it here first. So yeah, he's guessing that one of the moves will be that, but you know, hey, we'll see how that turns out, I guess. Or I guess, I don't know if the move would be that, but rather the name or the general typing of Gouging Horn. If you know what he means by Gouging Horn, I think he's referring to specifically Paradox Terrakion, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that's the one he's referring to here. That's the Pokemon he's referring to, or Paradox Pokemon. But here you can see, so this is probably the actual answer though, lol, beating around the bush. We'll see. So the signature moves of Paradox Entei and Terrakion are Fire and Rock. Iron Leaves breaking it up. So yeah, I don't know. I have to wait and see if that's the case. But either way, moving on, next thing. So this was a post that made no sense to me. He's just said un bonnet, bonnet, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it, but this word just literally refers to taking your hat off in like a respectful manner, right? To show respect to someone, which is super random, but it's just him showing a picture of Sinistcha, right? Which is random. I don't get what the point is here. It's a little bit strange. But yeah, it doesn't really tell us much. I don't really see anything valuable from this tweet. Moving on to the next one. Now this one, I both hate and like this tweet for two reasons. So one, the reason I like this tweet is because it might be just him again trying to confirm to us, hey guys, they're hinting at Black and White by introducing this Pokemon. So this is a teaser, because he literally says the teaser, and then it's like pen, pineapple, apple pen, if you guys remember that meme from like 10 years ago at this point. But yeah, it's like just him holding like Black and White, and then of course Duraludon, combine the two, and you get Archaludon, the brand new like evolution of Duraludon, which is going to be showing up. And of course, it's a literal bridge that looks like just like the bridge in Black and White and Unova. However, I've got to be honest, this is going to be one of the weakest tweets he's put out in a while, man. Like, I feel like my man is running out of like stuff to say, because I feel like at this point, either he doesn't have enough information, or we just are so close already to like whatever this game, if it's going to be a Black and White game next year, that at this point, what else is there to even hint? If it's just going to be a standard thing, unless this is just him messing with us, which he does all the time. But I do think that this is definitely a little bit of a, he literally says the teaser, right? Which would imply that literally Duraludon, all of Duraludon, the literal Pokemon, is a actual teaser, right? That's what I'm getting from this. Because I've seen a lot of people complaining about this, saying like, oh, Ku's lost the plot, man. He doesn't know anything anymore. He's just putting out random shit. But like, at the end of the day, he kind of is, but also isn't. Because everything he tweets does have something to it. But sometimes it does feel like it's just weird. It's not like, for example, this is just strange because we kind of already know that Black and White is the next thing, at least in some way or shape. We just don't know how. So this one's just a bit odd. But nonetheless, we're going to have to wait and see what comes from this. I, again, am still hopeful for Johto next year. That's what I want. But we're going to have to wait and see what turns out. But for this one, though, there's not really much that people are saying. It's mostly people just being like, you know, oh, it's just like, you know, like, what is this just saying Unova? Is this saying Black and White? Well, like, what's this supposed to say? I think what he's saying is this is a literal teaser. This is either him teasing us or the actual developers teasing us by including Duraludon, which is a literal bridge Pokemon. And in some way, oh geez, I'm gonna make some metaphorical, like, you know, weird things here. Is this thing a metaphor? Is Duraludon a metaphor to be a sort of bridge from Paldea, like the world of Paldea of Scarlet and Violet, Generation 9, a bridge to Generation 5, aka a bridge to Unova? Is that what Duraludon represents? Is it like a teaser to represent, like, hey, we're bridging the gap between these two places, and that's where you're gonna cross this bridge to go there in the next game? I'm just doing some weird thinking here. I'm just saying, I think it's a cool idea to just think of it in that way. Like, oh, it's a metaphorical bridge, bro. It's a literal and metaphorical bridge, bro. Like, I just think it's a fun way to look at it. But nonetheless, let's move on to the next thing before I lose my mind. So this is a post from Jan who says, here's some translations from the Chinese social media. Inspired by ABC Boy 101, the Chinese data miners looked into the items in the alphabetical order list in different languages. One specific new item, 2549, caught their eyes. It's between Tera Shard Ground and Tera Shard Electric in Japanese. And you guys can go down here. If it wasn't obvious enough, this is a new Tera Shard, as all Tera Shards are called Tera Shard and then type name in Japanese. Very likely for you to change your Pokemon into new Tera type. Now, what could it be if it's between Ground and Electric in Japanese? Ground starts with this, and then this other word, I don't even know what this is, while Electric starts with these, and then for starters, the Japanese alphabet goes in the following manner. So whatever the type name is, it must be between these two letters. Currently suggested names for the leaker is Stella and Stellar, okay? In Chinese, we call Tera Shards, then type name, and then Tera Shards again. So the type name comes first in Chinese. They concluded it starts with Jin or Jing in Chinese, which also fits the previous hint from leakers, Jing and translate to Star Crystal. Okay, there we go from that. But yeah, that's the first thing Jan said. But next up is, this name so far seems to be the greatest agreement of the name of Paradox Terrakion, and this is specifically for that. And both can mean giant rock. From French, we know it starts with Riolu and Rocabot, which was suggested by French friends. It could be Roctifer? Oh, okay. And from what I understood, rock can mean rock in rock, I don't know, in older French, and therefore we lock down the rock theme for its name in all languages. English needs to be an Iron A or Iron B, but therefore Iron Boulder is quite a good guess. That makes the total sense. I mean, it's literal boulder, look at him. And here, also double checked the CHT stroke order, which it used in this image. So you guys can see it's like 12 strokes, 14 strokes, 16 strokes, fits perfectly. For CHS, Pinyin still works. Tian Mian Ren Ji Tian Pan Shi Tian Pao Yu. Man, the answer sounds very likely by this point. So yes, pretty much breaks it down to this being, I guess, Iron Boulder? I guess is the right way to put it. Literal Iron Boulder. I mean, it makes sense. Iron A or Iron B, Iron Boulder. Just makes the most sense. It's the only name that like fits the best. But yeah, in terms of naming for Terrakion's Paradox form, which again, we still haven't seen this one. So Entei and Terrakion are still two that we just have no information on. But that shit's going to come out literally the same day that the DLC actually drops, because people are going to be data mining the shit out of that. But still interesting nonetheless. Still very, very strange. Moving on. We have this post right here. This is kind of funny. This is just a concept of I guess, Dokutaro, which is what we still call it. It's going to be probably called Peachkeen. I think that's going to be the name of this thing. I still call it Dokutaro because that was the code name that we've been using. But basically, Dokutaro is likely going to be named Peachkeen. Feel good about it. But with that name, I wonder if they'll make it cutesy. So yeah, I do also wonder if they will give it eyes, because the design we've seen kind of removes these. The eyes don't exist in like the stuff we've seen so far. But I do wonder if they're going to do that, though. And you guys can see right here is a bit of a joke about it turning the players into zombies, literally. Because there are literally code names for zombies in the Indigo Disc DLC file. So it's another thing to keep in mind. Moving on, we have this post right here from Soul Silver, who says he has some thoughts about, like, I guess some of the typing stuff here. Some more realistic answers to this riddle based on Ku's exchange. And you guys can see right here where somebody said just, if he's not psychic, he doesn't have any psychic attack moves except burst. And then Ku replied saying, won't the other two only have spiritual blades? And then he says, maybe Iron Terrakion isn't psychic like the other two swords. So Iron Leaves is grass psychic, Iron Crown is steel psychic, and Iron Boulder is rock fighting. Imagine if its sword is always there and made out of rock, which I guess would make sense because the other two twos aren't, I guess. But yeah, he also says, but I also really like this option, even more realistic than some of the other options, but the signature moves options makes more sense to me though. See my thread above. And here you can see Jordan saying, so we have Walking Wake, Water Dragon, Raging Bolt, Electric Dragon, Gouging Fire, which is going to be the Entei, Fire Dragon, and then Iron Leaves, Grass Psychic, Steel Psychic, Rock Psychic. What if Terapagos is the Dragon Psychic one? Ooh, so it combines the Dragon and the Psychic of the other ones. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, that's actually, I don't know, I like that. I like the sound of that. Huh. Interesting. I like that. That's an interesting way to look at it. But again, you'll see Jan saying, nah, I think it's clear he's saying the signature moves. Hydro Steam is obviously water, but why Psyblade, a psychic move, instead of giving PV a grass move signature move instead? This is even weirder when they actually gave Iron Crown a steel type signature move. Yeah, it is a bit weird why they didn't do that, but I mean, hey, I digress. I don't know what their choice making is based on, so I ain't gonna question none of it. Moving on though, again, we have that final post right here. The answer to this is in Soul Silver's post from a few months ago. Also, this art is still adorable though. The details of having star-like eyes and Ogerpon and Terapagos is a chef's kiss. So yes, again, the stellar eyes makes a lot of sense. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you guys in the next one, and bye-bye.